Nice to see you.
Yeah. You have your steps in.
So how was that?
Oh, my steps in today was, I was Deanna and Steve,
It's good. It's a good year. because
Oh, yeah.
Next year. you have to-
and so
This was
I've
the year for
pretty
sure.
much
I
met
don't
my
know where he's
new goal for
gonna
the
go
day.
back. I don't.
My
know.
stand goal,
Still got a voice. Like,
I still have a voice, I
You know,
have
just
some
someone
Yeah, I have
who's
some
focused
too.
on,
lozenges.
My voice is coming
you
and
know,
well, then all the better that you got the mission.
she wasn't planning to.
So
go back.
Kelly had to pick up
Coach Troy.
Maddie today, she's sick, she has like some kind of rash.
Shows up. She's like, he doesn't change the room or.
So she said that her
But
husband.
then, they're in.
I'm alive.
Was an arm on there?
They could have won last year. If they would have been.
Well, all the more reason to get to it.
So what'd you break
and-
now?
And then, you know, I think Vivian is gonna.
Are we recording?
No.
It's a board.
Yeah.
It's on right now?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
I
Fine.
told her, I think
Go
because
start it.
goes helpful.
But I have-
At the end of her.
you usually do it like 2 minutes before the time.
I know, but that would have
2
been
minutes.
like the perfect time.
It's 4:50.
So Vivian is at that,
We'll talk.
So I'll tell you later.
you know,
Yeah.
where.
I guess it's.
I read
When I was in
between
school, it's like, yeah. It's pretty fun. I mean, and for me, it would be hard.
So Sarita is installing a
So-
system. I don't know if ours is gonna be that smart, so you could say,
I think that, I
show
think
me
a lot
all
of the
the
coaches are gonna protest
students
that.
that had red
She'll
shirts
have to.
between these hours
I
and
think
this
that
hour.
they'll ban her from playing.
Zoom
Well,
in,
you can't, when you transfer,
Like
like, just a year, yeah.
almost like.
Half. But then I think if they're there.
Ours
it makes a
has,
big deal
we
out
had
of
the
it, and
option
it
of
would
getting
be, it would be probably.
Guys, the live stream is on. Just so you know.
I heard this buzzing sound.
What? Hey there,
Hey, stranger.
what do you know?
Not a whole
Thank
lot.
you for calling Continental.
We know
School
that.
District.
That seems to be the common answer these days. So I like someone to say, I know everything. And I
Please
just-
What would you like to know?
PIN number.
I guess it's only Steve that does
Maybe a little bit of everything, that's what I
You are
should say.
currently the only person in this
So,
meeting.
what
All right, we'll have call to order, 5 o'clock. Pledge allegiance time. I'll start. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Should we have a roll call before we go into executive session? It's kind of mixed up.
Yeah.
So we'll go to roll call. We're gonna reverse, item 3 and item 4.
Mrs. Amarillas,
Here,
Mrs. Lefever, Mr. McGivern.
Yes.
Mrs. Allen, Mr. Osterly.
Here. Okay, with that, we will take a break and go into executive session to discuss mid-year review of annual goals. Can I comment on it? Just like this. Now, can you watch the work? She should be here.
and I see this one.
I figure if I just do like every other, you'll form an affinity for me.
Hi, I'm Andrew, good to meet you.
Hi, Andrew. I'm Steve.
Hi, Steve.
You saw that, Nancy.
Greg, can you come?
Everybody, how was everybody this evening?
Very well.
All right, we were just in an executive session discussing goals and fun stuff. We've already had our roll call, so now we'll move into and a pledge of allegiance. So we'll move into approval of the agenda, which is an action item. An action item, just so you know, is something that we vote on. And then some items that we have are just for discussion only. Let's go a little bit faster.
I'll move to approve the agenda as written.
I second.
Any discussion? No? Roll call?
Mrs. LaFever,
Yes.
Mrs. Amarillas,
Yes.
Mr. McGivern,
Yes.
Mr. Osterley.
Thank you. And then approval of the minutes from our last meeting.
I move to approve the minutes for February.
Any discussion? Okay.
Mrs. LaFever,
Yes.
Mrs. Amarillas,
Yes.
Mr. McGivern,
Yes.
Mr. Osterley.
Yes. And do we have any call to public? Okay. With that is our superintendent's presentation, which is informational only. Usually actually very interesting.
One of the fun parts of our meeting, because the best part is our students, so we'll get to you in a little bit. Again, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here, members of the board, President Osterley. We have a lot of exciting events to just highlight. You see there our mission and vision statement in front of you, and as you know, that we are always working towards building for the future, learning, cooperating, and caring for all. Registration for next school year is in the works, so teachers and parents, if you have not registered yet, please do so. Ms. Emma would love to have your registrations coming in. Again, it helps us with staffing and looking at number of students that we can approve on open enrollment once we get everybody registered. Pre-rodeo days kickoff. We celebrated Friday, February 16th, and I'm very excited to say that my horse Rio got to come on campus, and the boys and girls were able to see Rio, and my husband and my stepdaughter came and read to the classrooms, and he said that he's been in a lot of stressful situations, but he was super nervous reading to kindergartners. I thought he was not gonna make it, but he did good. So there he is on the left, and we were outside on the field. You can see our preschoolers were all ready for the day. So we even had some roping practice, and we had some of the horse and roping equipment set out for the students, and there on the right-hand side, you see Mr. Magallanes. He loves rodeo days. He even took a day off from his new job to come hang out with us. And I even had to recruit his wife to come help us learn how to rope the dummy as well. So once a colt, always a colt for sure. Our jazz students have been doing amazing. Our jazz and orchestra students have been on tour. As I say, they were at the Avoda Jazz Festival. Our jazz band received a superior with distinction rating, which is the highest possible rating, and it's the first time in continental history that they have ever received this rating. Correct, Mr. Ferguson? Yes. So congrats to our students and Mrs. Belletti, and of course, she was turned over a phenomenal program that Mr. Ferguson has worked very hard to build and instill. So we're excited about that. Jazz in the Desert matinee was Saturday, and there's pictures there on the right of our students. And our jazz and orchestra students were off to Disneyland this morning for clinics, and they did arrive safely. So Mrs. Cuevas and Mr. Nathan are both on that trip. The NAU Jazz and Orchestra Festival happened during Thursday, Friday of rodeo break. So again, you see our students in jazz received a superior, and Chloe Cuevas received Outstanding Performer Award for her outstanding trumpet soloist, which is also the first time that Continental has received that award at a clinic as well. And our students, our orchestra students there on the bottom left, they played at a nursing home in Flagstaff. So I think we really are again working with our students to be well-rounded, and they continue to be of service even when they're out of town. Lions Club presented U.S. flags to first graders. So we really appreciate our community involvement, and thank you to our Lions Club. They shared the history of the United States flag with our students and gave them little flags. So we look forward to this annual event for our students. Our gifted ed students went on a field trip to the Biosphere, so there's some pictures there. As you know, we've worked very hard to identify students in the gifted realm, so we do have Mrs. Romanelli is servicing our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, and Mrs. Cuevas is working with our middle school. Gifted students, she does have a gifted endorsement, but we would really love to be able to get to a point in our budget where we can hire one teacher to service our gifted kids on campus, so that's a future goal of ours. 3rd grade musical, they presented Wild Things on Friday. Again, thanks to Mrs. Belletti and the 3rd grade team and teachers. It is available on our live stream on our website. So I don't, just a little snippet.
I'm like a monkey up the daytime, ready to win the anthem.
So Mrs. Belletti has been doing this year. How many of you have been to a grade level performance that your children have done this year so far? Okay, so that's just something that music teachers don't have to do. So that really is going far beyond the call of duty. I remember when I was a teacher and the music teacher used to come in and play that reel of Sarah Sponda, and I thought if I hear that one more time, I'm gonna just go lose my mind. Because she is exposing the kids to the ability to sing, perform, articulate. So there's just so many great things that come from ideas. If you have an enthusiastic music teacher, which we have, who goes beyond the call of duty, these are the things that we can offer for our students and parents. So you see Mrs. Belletti, just give her an extra shout out. PBIS, so of course we are a PBIS school, so we focus on positive behavior intervention support. So we have started to have monthly meetings with students to talk about building good character, to tie into Leader in Me. So on the left, we had a meeting with Mr. Nathan when he really did talk to all the kids about the power of words and what they mean, even though kids may agree, or the name calling. So we had a good conversation with a lot of students here in our community room. And then we had another speaker come in to talk to the students about sharpening the saw, which is also the 7th habit in Leader in Me that I mentioned in our parent newsletter, in terms of life choices that you make and decisions and how it starts now. To start to prepare to think about your future and what goals you have. 8th graders, we're also prepping them for high school. So we've already had our 8th graders go visit Walden Grove. We've had the high school counselors come to our school to talk to the students. We have a few students who are going to Sahuarita High School, so we had counselors come to speak to them as well. And we have 8th graders that are going to be going to Walden Grove to take the PSAT test. So again, what education is for, so we should be preparing young people for jobs that do not yet exist, right? Using technologies that have not yet been invented and to solve problems of which we are not yet aware. So when we talk about what we're really trying to do, we're preparing kids to have skills and jobs that with technology and the increase in the world, with so many people doing virtual trainings and nationally communicating with each other, it's an exciting time for our kids, and we want to make sure that they're prepared for success in high school. So again, thank you. So you see, spring break is coming, and you can see that little cartoon where kids are telling their parents, school's out, entertain us. So be ready, parents, for an adventurous week with your children for spring break next week. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Right on, thank you.
So with that, we'll go on to actually probably the real reason besides the pizza that you're all here.
So with that, if you want to start the cult of the month.
Yes, and I'm going to have Mr. Ferguson is going to
Oh,
help today
Awesome.
since Mr. Nathan and Mrs. Cuevas are visiting Mickey Mouse right now. We'll help them out. What we'd like, boys and girls, if you can come line up, bring your certificate with you, and we're gonna line up with preschool, kinder, shortest to tallest. Okay, so come on up. Come on up, boys and girls, don't be shy. You got both of them? I don't want first grade. Okay, first graders up here. Let me see my preschool or kindergartner over here.
Here we go. Yeah, just by the line.
Go to the front. Perfect. Hey. That's like preschool. Hey, come on over here. Good job. Okay. All right. So what we are going to do is we'll have the students come up. We can say your name, and you're gonna go stand by me, and Mr. Ferguson is gonna read all the great things that your teacher said about you, okay? Then you're gonna go see Miss Miami over there to get your t-shirt, okay? All right. Say your name. Say what's your name? Say.
She can't talk much louder than that.
Yeah, voice. Avery Connors.
Avery Connors was nominated by preschool. We are so proud to nominate Avery as our Student of the Month. She has grown so much this school year. She is kind to her peers and a friend to all. She is always willing to help others. She uses her communication skills to offer a solution when needed. Congratulations.
Good job, Avery. Go get your shirt over there, okay?
Okay, so this is Sophia. Sophia works very hard to be kind, safe, and responsible. She is a caring friend. She knows and understands how to be safe, and she has become very responsible and independent during this school year, Ms. Wilcox.
My name is Ryan Anderson.
Oh.
Okay, this is what Miss Guerra wrote. Ryan is such a sweet and kind-hearted young lady. She comes to school every day with a positive attitude, a smile on her face, and is ready to learn and take on the day. She follows the classroom rules as well as the school rules. She has a huge heart and is always willing to share with others and help others. Ryan is a wonderful student, and I enjoy having her in my class, Mrs. Guerra.
I'm sorry. I'm in fifth grade.
Avi is kind with his classmates. He looks out for everyone's safety, and he is responsible for his work. This is Nick Braun.
name is James Mickey, and I am in Miss Buddy's class.
We are happy to have Jameson in our class. He is kind because he is friendly, patient, and uses good manners. He is safe because he uses school equipment and classroom supplies appropriately. Jameson is responsible because he comes to class with a positive attitude. He is ready to learn and he completes his work on time every day. Keep up the great work, Jameson. This is Rodrigo.
My name is Madison's class.
Okay. Faith is Colt of the Month for February. She is kind and caring to all. She is responsible for her learning and always takes pride in her work. I catch her often just being her amazing self. Continue to shine bright, Faith, Miss Vance.
My name is Angela, third grade.
Lance has made big improvements and works hard in class. He is always safe at school and shows responsibility by trying his best. Lance is a kind kid to all students and individuals. Miss Wade.
Juliana Patterson, Miss Wade's class.
Okay. Juliana shows kindness to every one of her peers. She is quick to help others and offer guidance when needed. She has taken her role in student advisory very seriously and often comes to class offering new ways to challenge, inspire, and include her classmates. She follows our classroom and school rules daily and often reminds others to do the same. This is Nate.
Woo-hoo! Way to go, Juliana!
Okay, can we have all of our Colts of the month to come up and line up in front of this mural while we honor our Golden Bush?
Hold your shirt, but hold up your certificate.
You don't have to go your certificates, you're good. It's a good time, parents, if you want to take pictures too.
I know.
Okay, Brian, great, stay here, because you're gonna help me cheer for our other next two award recipients, okay? So I'd like to call up Miss Janelle Engdahl. Miss Engdahl, is she here? Oh, yes, here you are, yay! So, it was a recommendation from our governing board that we, start to celebrate our volunteer of the month, because we have a lot of volunteers and a lot of people who are very involved, who help us day in and day out. And when we, talk to the office staff and talk to leadership and admin to say who should be the person to get this award, they all unanimously said definitely Mrs. Engdahl. So we appreciate you coming for Working Wednesdays and for just being an overall supporter and member of PTC. So thank you so much. Okay, and we also have our Golden Horseshoe Award recipient. So if we could please have Miss Clarissa Molina come on up. Okay, so Mrs. Bodina, how many years have you been here? Yeah. 4 years, so she started out as a paraprofessional and is now working in our front office, so I know you've all seen her at some point or another. But Mrs. Molina was recommended by her colleagues, so we have a Google Doc where people recommend someone for this award. And Clarissa, we just want to say that your colleagues and everybody at Continental really appreciates your helpfulness, because there's not anything that we need that we can't ask Clarissa, and she never says, I don't know, she will always figure it out, and she gets the information. She's very efficient, very good at what she does, and she knows parents and she knows kids, and so whatever questions we have, Ms. Molina usually has the answer, so we really appreciate you, and on behalf of Continental Colts, we'd like for you to have the Golden Horseshoe. Thank you. Oh, here's yours. You gotta wait for her picture, so you can stand here for her picture. Our next award is, for the Golden Horseshoe Award, goes to Dr. Felicia Robinson, who is our new preschool director. She is in Phoenix today at a Woman in Leadership Conference, so she was gonna try to make it back, but I told her not to stress with the traffic, and that if she can make it back, we would present it to her next board meeting. So I'd like to officially present it to her at our next board meeting, but we really do appreciate Dr. Robinson. Let's take a picture. So parents, if you'd like to get a picture of your children with our recipients. Ready? Yep.
Hold on.
Okay. Be shy. Ready? See, these are all famous, excited, getting pictures. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much for coming.
Well, with that, I don't know if I enjoy the kids' smiles better or the parents' smiles better. It's a really special moment for us as well. We always tell each other that's one of the reasons why we're here, besides the good pay. With that, if you guys want to, feel free to stay. We've probably got another 20 minutes, but if you want to grab a piece of pizza and head home, and you feel more than welcome to come back and visit anytime. And we'll take a 2-minute break.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on with the consent agenda. Just a handful of items in there. This is an action item. I'll move to approve the consent agenda. No discussion on the consent agenda? Well, Mr. Lane, we'll talk about your resignation later on. Okay. All right. We'll miss you though. Okay, with that,
Mrs. Lefever? Yes. Mrs. Amarillas? Yes. Mr. McGibbon?
yes.
Mr. Ashby?
Yes.
Mrs. Holmes?
It looks like what we've all been waiting for, the district financial report.
Let's go ahead and just dig on in.
Right on, start at page 1. Hit it.
So fortunately, this week, or this month, there's only like 243 pages.
Shouldn't take too long.
We'll go line by line.
Thank you.
But before you is our district financial report. If you have any questions on it, let the process take place. And go ahead and get those answers.
Is there a way to make this not so blurry? We can hardly read it.
There you go.
No, I think it's because of font. They were running together. Just when those run together, just well, that too, but I think small.
If you can have the flowers.
Yeah.
All she cares about is showing stuff. You guys shouldn't get pizza here for that one, that's all she cares about.
Craig, is there anything on there that jumps out that changed or
There's
low
nothing,
budget, stuff you have transferred that you weren't expecting?
there's nothing in there that's surprising.
Yeah.
Alright, what's,
Okay.
real, RDA on them, when mythology.
Real, it says those are taxes received, real estate taxes. And there's really nothing spectacular, nothing out of the ordinary.
You go down just a little bit more, please. Go down just a little bit.
Not too far.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll move to approve the district financial report.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Okay.
Mrs. LaFever?
Yes.
Mrs. Amarilla?
Yes.
Mr. McGivern?
Yes.
Mr. Osterly?
Yes. And it looks like we want to use some SRO money to buy Mr. Ferguson some laptops.
Stay here.
That's 2 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve this with money purchase of laptops for $30,277.35.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah, what's ESSER fund, what's left? We gotta be get down to nothing on there.
After we make this purchase, I believe there's gonna be right around $120,000 left.
Oh, it's substantially in.
This fund itself started out at 440.
Okay.
So we're about we're about 3/4 of the way through it.
By when do you have to use it?
September.
When would you say that we are one-on-one with computers, Roxana?
We are now.
Do they take them home or they have to leave them here?
They, kinder and first grade leave them here, 2nd through 8th take them home.
Okay.
And these are going to be replacing the end-of-life computers that some of the 8th graders have had their computers now for 6 years.
Okay.
So,
And it's not just 8th grade computers. It's the Chromebooks that are no longer being supported by Google. So they're not going to be getting any security updates or anything else like that. So they're just at the end of their useful life.
What are you doing with the old computers?
Well, they don't serve us a purpose. So most likely they will go to auction.
Okay.
we are looking at, I know that they're, in the past, they've allowed the students to take them for like $1.
Okay.
Or $2, so that's something that I want Mr. Schubert to look into, so that we can offer them to the kids to take home.
I know that there's a nonprofit in Tucson, also We Care Tucson. They take the electronics and they do a tech camp during the summer with them too. So I was curious for that reason.
So looking at this, they're roughly $400 a piece, more or less.
They were two, so there's more in this than just the purchase of the laptop. It's the Google education upgrade.
Okay.
It's the carrying cases, so it's all inclusive.
So you're getting 6 years out of these things.
Well, am I okay to talk right now?
Can you just come to the podium, please?
So the devices that just went end of life, I believe we got about 6 years out of them. They were the G5s that were purchased with a, I think it was either a large donation or a large grant. There's approximately, I want to say 150 of them that are going end of life. What Google has done is that they've extended their support life up to 10 years, which is great, except it doesn't help us for the roughly 120 that are currently still serviceable that are no longer receiving updates right now. So that's only for new devices that were purchased. When I looked at how many of our devices are going end of life and when they're going end of life, this is the last big group that's going end of life until I want to say 2027. 2027, I think there's a group of 40 devices that are going.
But they're still working, the batteries are working. I mean, I'm so
Yeah.
shocked at a $300 computer, besides all the software and the update stuff, can actually function that long.
Yeah, I mean, they're,
Kids abuse.
And kids are hard on them.
I know.
they are hard on them. This particular model was very easy to repair.
I mean, all the times I see my kids pick it up by the screen, I'm sure it makes you cringe too.
Yeah.
You know, but they all do it. Anybody else? Okay, vote please.
Mrs. Lefever,
Yes.
Mrs. Amarillas.
Yes.
Mr. McGivern.
Yes.
Mr. Oster.
And now a discussion item to discuss the M&O. And the reason we're discussing it now, we're going to vote on it next month. So with that,
So we had, Chris Ackerly came and presented to the Madera Reserve HOA meeting in where he explained, and Laura was in the meeting as well, and I think he was able to explain the plan to rectify, and I think that we will be able to justify to parents and help them see the separation between the tax bill versus an override. And so I think it's gonna be all in the way we message it. So again, we just need to talk about whether we're gonna do 15% or 14%, with the reminder that if we say 15%, if we say 14%, it'll be on the ballot as a renewal. If we say 15%, it will be considered a new override. So we would have to message it appropriately to let parents know the difference.
Remind me what that 1% entails.
It's like $40,000 is what it means to us.
But it also takes a big chunk of people saying no to also, that 1%.
Oh, yeah, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
is it,
And as we discussed, we talked to Paul Olin, and I think he had mentioned when he was on the phone with us that we could possibly survey our parents to see what they would want and if they would vote. But Mr. Osterley and I were kind of talking about that additional expense.
that's money.
And is it really, do we really need it, or can we put in our efforts into just messaging it appropriately?
In this day and age, every additional expense to anyone is not appreciated.
Right. everything's going up,
Everything.
so.
And with that in mind, like
I
when
see
we were
Steve.
talking with Mr. Schubert, I don't know if you want to say what we were talking about in terms of our one-shot deal to.
So where we're at in the renewal cycle, this is our opportunity, and this is our best opportunity, as we are going up against with a presidential election, so there will be a larger turnout to vote on this matter. But this is our one shot to actually increase it from the 14% to 15%. Now, granted, that's only an additional $40,000, but that's going to help. That'll bring on another para program. That's a salary. That's
A gifted ed
Gifted
teacher.
ed.
a part-time gifted ed teacher. So it's
So it's 40 a year?
Mhm.
And if it doesn't pass, we still have we can do it in election of 2025.
At 14.
Well,
Yeah,
we
at
could
whatever
decide
we
it.
want.
at whatever we want,
Okay.
but this is our one shot with a large election coming up with a large voter turnout expected to move it from the 14 to the 15. And we run that risk because when this goes marketing out for it, it is a new override versus a continuation of an override.
That may be
But-
very different for a lot of people.
That's, yeah. No.
But the on the other side of that is that if this doesn't pass, the following year, we can still go out for a continuation of an override at 14% if we don't feel that we can get the 15% passed.
And that's the first year of the reductions or the following year's first
The
year?
year after that.
It's the first year of reductions.
So we're kind of doing a year early.
And I think, Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, that in the discussion with the homeowners and the way Chris was presenting it, saying that we really do have a pro-education. I mean, when you think about the overrides and bonds that were passed with Sahuarita and with Sunnyside and with Marana and the districts that right now
We were at a very
people
low
are
percent.
pro-education. So really saying a lot of times on the ballot, people will see school and say, okay, not just.
Right. That's my theory. People are gonna look at, oh, tax, no, or they're gonna look at schools, yes, or I don't know, and skip. And granted, our history is mixed.
And he also explained to them at the HOA meeting that the next year's taxes, since they basically prepaid this year's taxes. So they're not gonna get that double tax for this year either. It's like they paid their car insurance or their car taxes for 2 years, their house taxes for 2 years instead of for one.
And I think when you think about it, because I know people in TUSD were talking about the taxes that went up with property tax, everything's so much more expensive, everything went up. So taxes did go up substantially, but I was saying, look at what it went up in terms of school funding for TUSD. And when you break it down into a daily rate, what is it? $1 a day. Okay, so can we afford $1 a day towards public education? I mean, it would be kind of that level of messaging, right? When Laura, I know you were comparing it to
I
a
did,
cup
I
of
asked,
coffee.
yeah, that's what I asked him, because he kept saying, your taxes went up 43.3%. Well, to me, that seems like a lot, but I'm like, I don't recall seeing that on my tax increases for my own home. So I asked him to break it down to a monthly, and he said for a house of 200,000, it was $12.50 a month. So I'm like, that's 2 cups of coffee at Starbucks, Most people can afford that. Granted, most people don't have more expensive than a $200,000 home, but I had to break it down on a monthly, because that seemed less expensive to me than 43%.
It's like when we break down the data percentage-wise versus actual number. of
Right. But
what
I
that
thought, yeah,
translates to
even
students.
$25 a month, if you doubled it, seemed less expensive than 43% for some reason. 43% seemed like a large increase.
And I think when we look at also our tax credit donors, that,
like a negative.
Our voters that are still donating the tax credit amount of money that they do is phenomenal and amazing, and I don't think that we've seen a decline per se because of the whole property tax.
Right, but when you're out there trying to get this passed, the people that are against it, they're gonna be out there voting too. So when I was out there getting this approved, I had a lot of people, talking about how they didn't want their taxes to go up, and, so it does matter. I mean, these people did go out there, to vote for this.
And what was the percentage rate that it passed us? What was it a large percentage or was it just,
No.
54%? I mean, I didn't know what was the percentage of passing.
Was it 57%?
I
How
think
many
it's,
said yes and how many said no?
Yeah. so
Historically,
that's
we've had
saying
a loss
that
by one too.
yeah.
But prior to that, it was by one.
vote.
I mean, and it would be, since we're at a time where we're gonna have 3 board members also advocating for their seat at that same election, that we could have more of a push as well for override election.
I think if you spin it, you could say, well, you're paying for the override alone, now you're paying $20 a year, you're gonna be paying 22. It's not $1 a day, it's minimal. 1% of what the override is. Well, if you take 40,000, divide it by all the constituents, that's what it is, which is,
But you're having to remind these people how much they're paying
Yeah.
already.
right, I know, that's the,
And then, okay, well, you're already paying 20.
and it's really, only a handful really pay attention. And it's like I said before, the ones are gonna go, no taxes, I'm a no on all this crap, I don't know what it is. And other ones, they look school, fire, blah, blah, blah. yes,
All this HOA people here, they knew exactly how much they paid. They did. Every one of them. You could have asked them how much they paid for their, and how much they knew.
And I think that since we are really, minimum wage keeps going up, it keeps affecting our budget, our dollar is not going as far as it used to go. So I think, I mean, in my mind, in terms of operations and, keeping up with inflation and keeping up with minimum wage and that compression and being able to, I mean, we weren't able to provide raises this year, so I really feel that this could be our one-shot time.
Tell them they really want
to try.
25%.
Well,
we
but
did
it's very
have a chance.
costly too. Remember, it costs a lot of money, a lot of fundraising to do this. And it's gonna be a lot of work if it doesn't get approved.
Yeah, and to do it again, you're right.
Yeah, and you're gonna be tapping into the same people for money
And next year,
to, if it doesn't get approved, to help out with this override. It's the same people that you guys are gonna be asking for money.
So I think it's like anything, we can't go into it thinking that it's not gonna pass. We have to be willing to do the work to make it possible, and I think we did the financial state of the district, so teachers also understand what we're up against, so we are gonna have to really get our teachers, our parents, that our teachers who have children in our school and who live in our area to help us out, to vote, and to help us out with
You're still hopeful.
the campaign.
I know,
They
they don't.
don't. I'm sorry,
You're
they
right.
don't vote.
They don't.
No, they don't help push this.
No.
do they feel like it's a conflict of interest though? I mean, it'd be like me going out saying, I want to increase Medicare rates. I mean, because I don't get paid enough. I mean,
Well, it goes back to our messaging and our committee. I talked to our parent advisory group too, and they're willing to help, and one of them was willing to be the chair. So I think with our PTC and our parents that we do have, our foundation newbies who have joined us, I think are go-getters. So we'll need to
So we need to sleep on it until the next meeting.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if we're voting on it for next meeting, I will have to have resolutions and everything else prepared for you guys. So I need to know what we're looking at and whether we're deciding to go with the 14 or the 15. So
Well, we could still do it in May, right? I mean, we're not, or April.
Your thought was to vote on it in April and then you can get your resolutions based on the vote.
Well, we were gonna try and get the resolutions to you next month, but if that's the way you wanna go, that's what we can do.
What's the,
or just provide, or have both and we approve one or the other.
It's a lot of work.
copy, cut, paste, 14, 15.
No, the link, the document, you're talking about basic language of the document, it's a percentage difference. I mean, you have to provide the numbers, but you don't necessarily have to do that until it's submitted, correct?
I don't have to do numbers until we start putting together pamphlets. Well, what everything that we need to have done is from the attorneys. To make sure everything is up.
So May's okay or May's too late? Is it too late?
I don't think it's too late. Not until-
It's getting there. It's cutting errors.
So Friday, we have our volunteer breakfast. I'll have all the staff and a lot of community members who are volunteers. I think it'd be a good time for us to poll and maybe talk about it and ask the teachers and say, you know, we are really gonna need your help and support and get a feel for if they're gonna be willing to help us get this through with the ones who live in
I just feel like the work continuing the way it is. I mean, I'd like the 40,000 a month, believe me, I love that, but I just think the continuum is gonna pass. I just feel like you say nothing's changing, that would be easy to pass rather than tapping into it 2 years in a row. That's my personal opinion. I mean, I would love an extra 40 grand a month for you guys too, but.
I just feel that this economy is on walking on eggshells. And I'm not saying, I'm not sure I have strong feelings either way, but
I would vote for the 15, but I don't think the neighbors would.
yeah, I don't know what to think. It's just,
well, maybe you need to talk to your neighbors too and just get a feel so that we have more of an idea. Because when we call for it, that's when, you know, we have to back away and let the committee do their work. So I think that we can.
well, the reality is even if we wanted to, we can't make a decision tonight. It's not
Right.
as such.
Yeah.
So the soonest, unless there's a special meeting called, would be, is this March, April, right? Anyway, right? Yeah. We don't have much choice at this point unless we call it a separate meeting to do it. Correct?
So I think maybe we talk about it and see get a feel for what our neighbors are saying. I'll get a feel for what staff and teachers are saying.
I'll ask all my neighbors.
Ask all your neighbors. The council will vote yes.
They're easily bribed.
And then we can.
Okay.
So we're gonna vote on it next time, whether it's 14 or 15.
I mean, preferably, but if we're not.
I said we need to vote on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So it'll be the standard, approve the motion, and then we'll approve, let's just say we approve 15. And then if that doesn't win, then we have to go for another vote to approve 14.
Okay.
I believe would be the right protocol, or vice versa.
Or deny and then amend the motion.
It's something,
So
yeah,
you
we'll
say we're
figure
gonna
that
ask
out.
15,
We'll figure
and
it out
then if
the
it doesn't get
protocol
approved, yeah,
after
for 14, like continuing?
Just
That
to
does
continue.
not.
I think he's talking about the vote.
The vote.
Just how
Yeah,
How we're gonna work.
procedurally do it.
For voting.
To follow it.
Usually you'll do whichever one pops up gets nominated
Yeah,
first.
you make a motion, whoever makes the first motion, and you like it or you don't. If it doesn't, you can.
If it votes down, it dies, and someone else can make another motion.
And it would still be within the posted.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure they follow the guideline
Right.
or Robert's rules.
So as long as you have in the agenda that it's to decide on
Yeah.
14 or 15
Right.
as an option,
So we'll just be careful how we work.
I would think.
All right, I think we
Good.
kind of
Thank you.
And the board meeting, so everybody seems to be cool with the second Tuesday of the month, with a couple exceptions on the year. Still working out okay? Okay. So that's just a discussion item.
Yes.
And to sit back, she's gonna read the whole community engagement policy.
It was supposed to be.
That's just a discussion item, right?
It's just a discussion.
It's okay, we can hold on. I don't think we do.
We can discuss that.
We will get this, okay?
Happy 2 years of work.
Just put it as a consent agenda item next time. So we'll make that a consent item next vote for the meetings.
For the board meeting dates.
Okay.
Okay. So the next item is just discussion and information. It's a first read of the district-wide family community engagement policy. This is something new with Title I. As you know, our Title I funding covers parental involvement and parent engagement. So as people in the State Department change and policies and expectations change. So this was part of, we are in cycle 1. So every year they put schools in different cycles. You go through the process. I believe there's 6 cycles, 6 or 7 cycles. So we will get a visit on like cycle, I think they're in 3 or 4 years we'll get a visit. But in terms of what happens is every year I have to input stuff into grants management, into EMAC, to show that we're in compliance with all that Title I requires. So this is a Title I requirement to have the district-wide family community engagement policy. So it's there for you to read. This is first read. We will approve it and put it up for a vote for next
It's only
meeting.
6 pages. Come on
It's
now.
only 6
You got some
pages.
voice left. Here's
And
coffee.
everything that it discusses, like where you see, we put in our monthly board meetings, our parent communications via newsletter, Class Dojo, our Title I family nights when we do family science night, math night, literacy night, art night, all of those are part of Title I family engagement activities that we have to demonstrate that we do. Our parent advisory committee, our parent climate surveys. So I just included everything that we do already into this policy template. And what we will do with this is give it out during parent conference time and during meet and greet so that parents understand. We already have a compact, which those of you who have had kids come through Continental know that it's that annual parent, student, teacher compact that says the teacher will do this, the student will do this, and the parents will do the following. So this is in addition to. So during meet and greet, we'll give the compact and the policy. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That takes us to events. So you said this Friday is the volunteer breakfast?
Yes,
And what time is that?
9 o'clock in the morning in the cafeteria.
Are we allowed to come?
Are we invited? Are there all of us there?
Yeah, what do you have?
Something,
Yeah.
What kind of
Chicken.
chicken,
Chicken?
fried steak.
So you are all invited. We hope that you are here so that we can recognize because you are volunteers. And it has been in our newsletters and it has been in our events. And I believe that Nayeli sent out invites.
You know, we're elected officials.
So,
I've always wanted to say that.
yes, you
All
are
right, let's
elected
not linger.
officials. So
All
9
right,
o'clock
Thank you.
for breakfast. So please come join us. Okay.
All right.
Do you know when the talent fair is by any chance?
The what?
The talent fair?
The talent show,
Oh, yeah.
the student talent show, we do,
May.
it's in May.
And
So
they, okay,
Is there beyond this one?
no, that's fine. I just, Olivia.
It's
in our neighborhood with her. So you might wanna make sure-
May
17.
May 17th?
So Ms.
Thank you.
LaFever, since you have the floor, if you will move on to our discussion, is there anything you want
Oh, wait. Then I'll have to double check with Wendy.
to bring up,
When's the,
so we get out of here by 7?
No, I think I'm good, thank you.
That's not the right date, but it'll be around that
Okay.
17th date, because that was last year's, Laura.
Okay, it says, okay, 7th here. Talent show?
Sir?
no, but that's,
Any
Oh,
discussion?
never mind.
My turn?
Yeah.
Mr. Lane?
Sir.
I'm not pleased that you're leaving, but I wish you the best.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Don't forget about us, poor souls here. When you climb the ladder of success, remember about us.
Remember us little people.
When is your last day?
April 19th.
I appreciate what you've done for the district. Thank you.
And Mr. Lane, I also appreciate what you've done, and he's put a lot of systems in place, and things are ready for us to operate between now and the end of the school year.
We're starting next school year on Monday, we're ready to go.
He's ready to go already, so thank you.
And we just, as you saw, a consent agenda item was a raise for the drivers. Did you see that? You don't know how long we had to sweat it. So with that, we'll take a quick break. There's only a handful of items to sign.
Do you have a predecessor to send our way?
Yes.
Do you have a predecessor to send our way? Yes and no? Okay, go from here. Good.
It wasn't COVID.
Come to my house.
It was just
On the house.
And then I'll have the tea with the well.
That's good
Okay.
stuff. Oh, sorry, I'm behind there. I was being distracted by my partner.
By ranch water. By ranch water.
That's
You
where
know
they
what
grew
that
it
is?
there. I know.
So- Oh, that's true.
One of the fancy seltzer things.
Do you know it's water from the McKibben Ranch?
Yeah,
Spiked.
only the best.
If it was, I wouldn't have to make one more test.
Are you listening here for Spring Breeze? Oh, wow.
You come see us or what?
Well, with me.
Is he back in time for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, I wish I could edit these
The
salaries.
date thing.
Dad, had a couple you wanted.
He would.
Oh, yeah. How'd that go?
Already tried.
Okay.
No, was you one of the two? Oh, no. It didn't go good? No, it hasn't.
To be honest with you, you forgot this one there, I think.
I don't know, I think he's intimidated
You got
by someone. Oh. That's funny. Yeah, he's intimidated.
It's a nice pen. Can you all get pens like this one?
No.
I think he's not.
It's not in the budget.
Oh, you think so?
Put it on
I don't
Roxanne's
see
tab.
that. I think he just.
Her tab's about
afraid
empty.
to be rejected by her
I'll just steal
after
hers.
all these years.
That's fine, I'm good with that.
Right.
Is it?
That's it. We are adjourned at 7 evening, 7:03.